Hey, it's your buddy Smokey. Back in the lab. It's been a crazy week. Well, 10 days. Well, 2 weeks really since Halloween. But anyways, um, getting getting past that. Um, Slide, right? Another little thing about, say, taking what you know and putting it in a different place. Now, I had people in my family growing up that played slide, and I had witnessed them playing it, be it a lap steel or, you know, playing sitting up like this. But nobody had ever told me that when I started playing, that there were other tunings that were more traditional to slide. So when I picked up my first piece of Pyrex, I did everything in standard, thinking that that's just, well, that's what you did. And noticed that there were certain things I was not able to do, like just sonically, like why can't I get? And then had found out about open tunings. But as somebody who was, especially early on a budget and only had one guitar, you play in a gig, you want to break out slide, you're not going to take that time in between tunes to totally change the tuning of your guitar. So you carry on in standard. So that's what this is about. It's a simple sort of taking what you know and say applying slide to it. Since we're going to remain in standard tuning, your geometries don't change. You just kind of have to have a new way of looking at it. Now, if you've never picked up a slide before, one of the tricks is you play directly above the fret wire instead of, say, when you're fretting with the finger, you go in between the fret. Because when the string goes down, it stops dead on the fret. Well, you're not pushing the string down with the slide. You're letting the slide just float on the string, but you're not applying pressure down. So the note happens when the string is choked at the fret, not what your finger's doing in terms of where it's at. It's what it's doing in terms of what it's physically doing with the string. So, say we're going to play the C on the G string on the fifth fret. You want to be above the fret, not in between, because you'll be flat. It's not what you want. You want to be on the wire, right above the wire. So while we're sitting here on C, there's the C on the G string and there's the G on the D string. You can play both of those notes. It's a familiar sound. You're not getting the whole chord that you'd normally get, say, in an open tuning, but what you're getting is enough of that it sort of replicates that feeling. So say, let's just take the G and the D string open, right? And that would normally, like in an open G tuning, my A string would be tuned to a G, my E string would be tuned to a D, but you have one guitar, you're in the middle of a set, you're not going to do that. So, and you can get away with it. These are approximations because you're not dealing with an open tuning. Let's take the scale shape. Let's take our minor pentatonic box in G. So we've got the G on the high E string here, right above the wire. You want to be right above the wire. You're using the same geometries. The trick is going to be kind of getting that articulation. At first, you're going to miss the fret wire. You're going to go flat, sharp. You're going to want to apply too much vibrato at first. Start simple. Start with just the notes and separate them. So don't slide between the two. Go. Get the note before you start to work sliding between it. You know what I mean? So, because that's a wonderful articulation with the slide, but for accuracy's sake, make sure you've got the geometry down. And and then up. Another quick way to do it. But that's just a couple of ideas in terms of, okay, I want to incorporate these things, but I'm not going to learn a new tuning. And there's many tunings. That's the thing about it. That's a whole other rabbit hole to fall down into if you're going to start looking into open tunings for slide. There's as many tunings as there are people who play slide. One other little trick that you can incorporate right away, and not a lot of people will talk about, but the heavies will show you. Not that I'm a heavy at this, but I'll show you what I've picked up from the heavies. Say we're doing the G minor pentatonic shape. You can fret behind the slide. So I'm here on the C on the 5th fret on the G string. And what I'm going to do is then take my first finger and fret the B flat on the 3rd fret on the G string. G string. 12. So what you can do is slide to a note, fret behind it, and that can give you a little more the perception of speed, because slide is not something you're going to be whizzing through scales with in the same way that you would normally if you were just using digital operation using a slide. So and one of the things you can also do, which I just did right there, say our bar chord shape off the 5th fret. So we're going to do a C. So the C on the A string on the 3rd fret, barring the rest of the 5th and avoiding the high E string. You can still fret that and use the slide to articulate the rest. But make sure you get on top of that fret wire, or you're going to have that happen. And ooh. So just a couple quick ideas about using the slide. I find that Pyrex is a little warmer for what I hear in my head. There's brass, there's ceramic, there's brass covered in chrome. There's all kinds of glass composites. There's all kinds of other man-made composites. Find the one that you think sounds the best. In my opinion, and my humble opinion at that, glass, for me, to my ears, sounds a little better on electric, and brass sounds a little better on acoustic. That's just to my ears. There's many different kinds of slides as there are people, but that's just a little primer. Just a little way of like, okay, I've got my geometries that I know and love, and I'm going to stick to it, but what can I do to broaden that a bit? There you go. Grab a slide. Or another thing that I used to do and still do, and let's see if I have one on me. I do. Since I'm a smoker, I have a lighter, and you can use a lighter in a pinch. You use the edge of it. I'll do that little Saints lighter. Go Saints. Go Saints. Fuckers. I love my Saints, don't get me wrong. Use the edge. And you can, for theater's sake, reach over the top. can sit down on your lap and play it like a lap slide. The other little trick is always make sure that whether you're doing it with a slide on your finger or say with a lighter or a bar, a slide bar, or anything that you're going to use, that wherever contact with the slide contacts with the string, you want to mute behind it. It kind of, if you don't, you get the, you can hear all the strings. And what you want is just one note, say the E on the G string. What I've got is, my pinky resting, muting the string. So that way you can eliminate some of the noise. So even with the Pyrex, what I'm doing is I'm using these two fingers muted behind. And that way I'm not getting the extra string noise. I'm also edge muting by the bridge to make sure that also there's a little bit of extra bit of muting. A lot of successful slide playing has to do with, first of all, eliminating all that extra noise. So there you go. Slide into your happy place. Go ahead and slide. It's your buddy Smokey. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry it's been a few days. I've just been really busy and indulgent. We'll call it that. Just in case there's any kids watching. Well, it's your buddy Smokey. Thanks for coming down to the lab. I'll be back with more stuff and more silly, crazy ideas of edgier things and other just little tips to help you change your thing up. And, just in case you don't want to make that effort in terms of learning something new, or if you don't have the inclination or the time, that's why you got a Smokey. Everybody needs a Smokey. Everybody needs a Smokey. Listen to your Smokey. Comes with the Smokey. Unless, of course, you blew that whole chance, and then you're on your own, man. How's that working out for you, huh? No Smokey? You may as well sing the blues. Hey, it's your buddy Smokey. We'll talk to you later.